Welcome to the Connection Central Industry Podcast, where real conversations meet real strategies. Each episode we dive into the industries that keep Australia moving, talking with the leaders, innovators, and everyday operators, shaping what's next. So settle in, turn it up, and let's get into it.
Hi, everybody. Michelle O'Hara here for another industry podcast. Very hot topic is the construction industry. And today we're very lucky to have Ben Campbell from Campbell Construction Co. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate you having me.
Most welcome. So, Ben, from a marketing perspective, we talk a lot about niching, we talk about segmenting particular markets. And I think, we came across you because you're a very perfect example of that in regards to having 20 years experience in the construction industry and you guys being pretty much the most respected insurance repair builder out there. So can we just start a little bit about you telling us about how that all came about, a little bit about the business, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I don't think anyone in the insurance industry gets into it on purpose. Everyone sort of falls into the insurance industry, whether you're a broker, loss adjuster, a writer, or insurance builder. I ran into an insurance broker many years ago at a pub on New Year's Eve around 1 a.m. Things were a bit quiet back then, northern New South Wales, and I just pretty much said to him in not so many words, but if you could give me a job, that'd be great. And fast forward 3 months, he rang me and said, I've got a job at Mission Beach. That was after Cyclone Yasi. At the time, I didn't know where Mission Beach was. I said, yeah, no worries, I'll go have a look at it, thinking it was in Queensland somewhere. So I jumped on a plane, flew 3,000 miles, measured up the job and won the job. And then I had to move my family, my wife, and at the time we had a 12-month-old, packed her up, moved to Mission Beach, a caravan, me and mate, and one apprentice. So we sort of started the business in the insurance space there. Like we were building new homes, renovations all around northern New South Wales at the time, and work was drying up after the GFC, so it was getting very quiet. So we took the opportunity to have a crack at Insurance Works and see where it went from there. So.
Instigator in giving you more work, or did you just then sort of get the reputation in the market?
Yeah, so we got one job off Troy. Then for the following 6 months, we only had one or two other smaller jobs from locals in Mission Beach who didn't or couldn't get someone else to do their work. And then I went around to different insurers, at the time they have all these larger events, they have caravans and a tent set up trying to push their own brands, the insurance companies, that is. We got a couple of little bits and pieces off them. But then we were turning up to jobs and we had clients going, what are you doing? The weather's perfect. Why aren't you out there fishing? And I love fishing more than anybody. And I said, well, fishing doesn't pay the bills. So we've got to get the work done first. And once we've got the job done, then we can go fishing. And we built that reputation of turning up, getting things done, doing it really well. And that sort of helped start the business and really sort of got us on a really good trajectory. And we sort of built from back then. I had myself and one apprentice. We've now got over 150 staff. So
you're doing something right. Very good. So
hopefully.
obviously in the construction industry, particularly last year, we saw a lot of challenges with costs, with staffing, the introduction of AI and technology and all that sort of thing coming into business. Was there a point that you sort of noticed a shift where you took action? Obviously, you've grown so much over the time. Like, was there anything that stood out to you as a trigger to pivot or change direction or anything like that?
Yeah, I've sort of been noticing over the last probably 5 years.
5 years, good.
Especially in the insurance space, it's getting more and more demanding. There are a lot of people coming into the industry who think there's a quick buck to be made in insurance. Insurance maybe 30 years ago, you could make really good money out of insurance. Now with technology, it's getting harder and harder, getting more and more scrutinised. We've got government regulation, we've got insurance regulation, we've got so many more red tape and hoops that we need to jump through these days. It is getting extremely difficult. You then talk about trades and price rises. After COVID, materials obviously hard to get. Trades have become near impossible. I was at a conference a couple of weeks before Christmas and they were saying that for every 6 trades that leave in the industry, there's only 2 coming in. So the trades that have left in the industry, I suppose the care factor they have is diminishing. The rates have just gone through the roof. Like chippies were 25 an hour, 35, 45. Some chippies want 110, 120 an hour now. Electricians are all 110, 120 an hour. It's getting a little bit out there, and a lot of them, they only want to work till 1, 2 o'clock in the day. So it is getting difficult. So yeah, so we've looked at different avenues where we can pivot the business a little bit, but still having our core insurance business. So we're doing risk surveys for underwriting agencies at the moment as well. So essentially, we go into a property, commercial, residential, and we evaluate that property. Is it a good risk, bad risk? It's a very detailed report that we provide back to the broker or the insurance company. They then decide off our report the terms that they'll give that client for reinsurance. So
Oh, that's good.
there is about 20 to 25 million of those required per year. So there's quite a big industry in that regard just alone. So tapping into that has sort of helped pivot what we do.
Mm,
Also I've just launched a modular home division, so that's taken off. We started that in November. We've already got 7 in production at the moment, with probably another 15 orders underway already. So that's
yeah.
pretty big take up for starting it in sort of late October, early November. So
And
there's
is your team building those as well, or is it just a send it to them and pop them up type
no.
situation?
We do the whole lot. Yep. So yeah, so we do all the drafting. We've got obviously an engineer who does the engineering side of it, and then we construct it in our own yard that we have here on the Sunshine Coast. But I find the regulation in insurance world, in the construction space, is getting more and more tricky. But then you've also got the QBCC, Department of Fair Trading. The regulation is coming from government bodies is really tricky to navigate. So there are a lot of complexities being a builder in this day and age. I mean, when I did my license 20 something years ago, they said, do you really want to get into it? Like, we're going to teach you the legalities. We're not going to teach you how to be a builder. You should already know how to do that. But the legalities have got more and more onerous as we've gone through. So,
Yes, who would have thought, hey, builder now becoming a lawyer?
yes.
But that whole diversification piece, I think, is a key point to all of you who are successful business owners, though, right? It's and how do you, I guess, how do you keep abreast of always looking at, like, every year? How often are you strategizing and thinking and reviewing and thinking we need to go a different way, or do you know what I mean? Like, what sort of rhythm have you got around that sort of thing?
I think any business owner is constantly looking at what they're doing, how they're doing it, how they can do it better. I mean, successful business owners anyway. Um, like for myself, I get in trouble all the time off my wife and off our staff that you don't stop thinking, why you keep coming up with new genres, new this. It's for me, it's how do we make sure that this business is successful, not for the next 3 to 5 years, for the next 10 to 15 years. And
Yeah.
in my world, I'm thinking 2 years, 3 years in front of where we currently are, because I feel as though if I'm not thinking like that, we're not having the pipeline come through. And if we're not got the pipeline come through, how do I support 150 families? So
Mm.
constantly thinking, what do we need to do better? How can we adapt and move and pivot to continually stay in front of others? And I think it's this world, this insurance space, it is quite difficult. Sometimes I feel as though there's a race to the bottom. They're trying to get it cheap, nasty, get in, get out. Every job's just a claim number. For myself, it's at the end of that claim number, there's a mum, there's a dad, there's a brother, there's a sister. How do we treat them like real people, not just claim numbers? So, it
Nice.
is a juggling act. And when like we do probably 6 to 10,000 jobs a year, so making sure that your staff are doing the same thing and looking at it as each job is a person and they need to be treated the right way. How do we make sure that's happening?
It's awesome. I think that's why you're so successful, because you actually care, which is nice. So speaking of staff, obviously that's a major challenge in every single podcast I'm doing, I'm noticing, across every industry. What's your take on how we can encourage the younger generation to come through and, get involved in the industry?
Good question. I do think though there is a bit of a shift at the moment. I've got my oldest is 16, and I know a lot of her friends are all keen as to get out to the workforce. And I think 5, 10 years ago, you're looking at those 16, 14, 15, 16-year olds, they weren't as active as getting out and working. So I'm hoping there's a bit of a change coming. I've seen a lot of her friends, and I've seen a lot of other family and friends' children really pushing and wanting to work and wanting to get out there. So trying to, we've put into different schools about doing career days again and pushing the construction industry, pushing the insurance side of it. It is a tricky industry to be in, this insurance space. First of all, you need to become a qualified carpenter, supervisor, estimator, then you sort of jump into this space. So that there is a lot in it, but there's also, like we've got our admin teams, our repair coordinators, customer care team. There's so many other facets and roles in this business and other businesses like this, that there's so many avenues that people can get into. And I look at it, you've got kids being pushed to go to university. They'll do 4, 5, 6 years at university, come out and not pursue their chosen field. Well, they can do an apprenticeship and they're earning 100 grand a year straight off the end of their apprenticeship. So I think it is a great industry to be in. Just getting the kids these days to learn a good work ethic, I think that's critical. My 2 bosses when I did my apprenticeship, excuse the French, but they're absolute arseholes. I mean, I copped it. You get a kick in the ass, you absolutely cop it. But they taught me a great work ethic. I can't begrudge the fact that they did that. Like, without the work ethic that I've got now, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
And you wouldn't be so successful either. Everyone has
No,
sort of said the same thing, that they've been brought up through the ranks with guys who were absolute assholes, actually. But yeah, they gave them a standard that they had to stick to, and now they're putting that into their businesses and just doing it smarter and
true.
in a nicer way.
Yeah, and
Probably.
I think it also helps you build resilience because like you look at COVID, it knocked a lot of people around. But having that resilience to be able, okay, well, there's a way through this. I can see the light. How do you get there? Every day is not a good day. Every day is not, rainbows and butterflies. There's a lot of tough days running a business. So if you don't have that resilience, you can really struggle and you fall over pretty quick.
Mm.
So yeah, you've got to build up tolerances and resilience. And I think you do that when you're a child and as you're coming up through the ranks. They say they're your formative years. They certainly are. If you don't get that built back then, you're in trouble.
Yeah. But do you think that the younger kids coming through have got that resilience?
No, definitely not.
Different podcast.
There are some, but like they're getting taught in schools these days that it doesn't matter. There's no winning or losing. Well, straight away. That
Get started.
it is a difficult one. But then you get them on the job site and you get them coming and working, and I don't
Mm.
want to do this. I don't want to do that. I said, well, no worries, mate. Don't have to be here. See you later.
Yeah.
And they soon come back and go, oh, well, actually, I want to be here. I need to do this. Some. And the ones who stick it out and, they do become really good tradespeople and hopefully good human beings as well.
Yes. Good. Good. Well, keep that up because we need more of them to come through. And so you were talking about obviously costs of doing business, etc. How are you guys sort of utilizing things with those reports? I'm thinking something like AI would be, or automation would be a really good way to increase margins because they would be similar reports that you could plug in. Is that sort of, are you using a lot of that side of things or?
We haven't used a lot of AI. We are, I developed our own software program to run our business. We've now
Right.
on-sold that to a couple of hundred other building businesses now. So
Smart.
that's been very handy, but we've been able to create templates and documents that does make it a lot easier for us to do these things.
Yeah, good.
Whether it's doing an insurance report, scope of works, estimate, the software that we are using, it allows us to do it a lot quicker than what you traditionally would. We're currently looking at new AI tools where we can go and scan a room and it will tell us what damage is there. It'll create a scope of works for us. It'll create a report for you. So there are technologies out there, but you still have to have someone sitting behind the desk who understands that and make sure that it's correct.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what the system is, it's only as good as the information you put into it. So you do still need to have those safeguards there to make sure it's done correctly. But there are a lot of tools out there that at the moment that is making life a lot easier, and I think that's why this industry, the insurance space, is getting so difficult because there are a lot of players who go, "Oh, we can just do that. You just AI this and AI that, and you can create reports." And there are a lot of dodgy players in this industry, as in all industries. They see a quick buck and they think they can jump on the bandwagon. But I think our track record speaks for itself, and you may not pick up another contract with insurers. I've had it a few times now that, oh, we'll go down this path. within 2 or 3 months, they're ringing you going, "Oh, actually, they didn't deliver on what they said. You guys have always done a great job. Can we bring you back on board?" So the proof's in the pudding. We've got the runs on the board. So
Nice. And how, I think a lot of people are sort of saying because of the rising costs and all that sort of thing, customers' expectations have changed. They want more for less, and some of them's a pain in the ass, really. Are you, especially in the insurance industry, like, are you finding that is really affecting you? And how do you keep your great level of service? Or do you shift, how are you dealing with that?
it is tricky because we're working for insurance companies. The homeowners don't obviously have to pay the bill. So a lot of the times they're very blasé. They say, we're coming in, we go through the scope of works, we're going through it with them. So they're happy with that. They're not the ones footing the bill. But insurance companies are very demanding on margins and rates. And
Mm.
I think a lot of your listeners would be very surprised in the margins that we're running with are quite low. We need to do high volume to be able to sustain the business.
To share, yeah.
So it is very tricky, but consumers at the end of the day, when, say if we're gonna do some maintenance work or some private works, they want extra works compared to the insurance that is getting done, they do scrutinise and go, "Seriously, you're gonna charge me for this?" You really need to take the time to explain to them what they're getting, what they're not getting, what's involved in it, and once you have those conversations up front, I think it makes the rest of it go a lot easier. Being honest and going through, "Okay, this is what you want done, this is what it's gonna cost."
Mm.
And at the end of the day, and I find it funny, I've done a lot of private jobs for different businesses and different people, and some of the richest people I've done work for are the tightest. And they go, "Oh, but you're charging me $50 an hour." Well, actually, I should be charging you 70. And they blow up about it. I go, "But hang on, you're making 60% on those t-shirts you're selling at your surf shop. So you're making a very good margin, but I can't make anywhere near that." "Oh, no, but this is for me." So, it is tricky and it is frustrating that they all want everything done for nothing and they want it done yesterday.
Yes, yes. Interesting. I think that's across all the industries, by the way.
Yeah, I
And
don't doubt that.
yeah, obviously, to have lasted this long and to have grown so much, you've obviously got a very good culture within the business. How do you keep on top of that?
Probably pride ourselves on the culture within the business. I do a lot of little things within the business for our staff, for the communities that we work in. And I don't think it's all about the wages people take home. It's about the little things that they're a part of and being a part of something bigger than themselves. I think is a huge thing. We support a lot of sporting organisations, a lot of surf clubs, a lot of charitable groups, and for me, it's all about. And as we said before, if we can change a kid's life at 10 to 15, we can make and help them be a better person. When they get to 15 and above, it's too late. They've already gone. Trying to everything that we do, as far as on that side of the fence, charities and sports and different things, it's all based around kid networks, children being better kids, better mindsets, better eating. How can we help them become better people? And then, like we throw in, you got doona days, you got volunteering days. We as a business certainly don't make the margins that our competitors make because we invest a lot of time and money back into the conditions for our staff. And we probably have a really good work-life balance. And there is a fine line there because we still need to make the bottom line.
Yes.
But you want to have your staff too, so they're not getting burnt out. So they're going home happy. They've got a happier home life, they've got a happy work life, and vice versa. It can be tricky and can be a very fine juggling act at times, but I think if you don't look after your staff, you don't have anything. Yeah, like I'm not on site all day, every day these days. I can't be everywhere. So you've got to rely on the guys and girls within the business to pick up the mantle and run with it. And if they believe in what we do and how we do it, um, they're going to deliver that. And if they're going home with a smile on their face, they're going to treat their family a little bit better. They're having a great time at home. They're going to come to work and treat their colleagues better. So it's a huge thing, culture within our four walls. And yeah, I mean, I've had offers to sell the business, different scenarios, and I keep looking and going, well, if I did that, I know that they would try and squeeze the lemon a little bit too much, and you would
Mhm.
lose that culture. So you would lose everything that we've built for the last 15 years. So
Wow, but what does that mean that the future looks like for you? You have to work forever.
probably working on a scenario at the moment is it Is it something that you give back to the staff and give them a percentage in the business? And then, I might retain a small percentage and just help guide the ship in certain ways, or,
Yes.
that is definitely the way I've built it and structured it. It is very difficult to step away, but I'm very concerned that if I did sell it on, that the staff wouldn't get looked after like they do now.
But that's so good. That's a real, of all the podcasts and interviews I've been doing, it's a very common thread, which is really nice to know that, you can have that success and still care about people, and you don't have to be like a private equity demon and, just squeeze the crap out of everything. So that is beautiful. What do you think is next for the construction industry? Like,
Question.
you're probably already doing it with the modular homes and that sort of
I think
thing.
that's a small part of the answer. The construction industry as a whole, there seems to be less and less mums and dad builders. Now, I grew up in Yamba, northern New South Wales, and at the time, I think there was about 15 good builders in town, and all of them, they were, usually one-man bands with two or three guys working underneath them. Usually the wife was at home doing the accounts, the husband's out running the jobs and bringing the work in. These days, you've got your Metricons, your Vantage Homes, Perry's, Corals, they just are getting bigger and bigger.
Mm,
It is hard to compete as a one-off. You might be doing 5 to 10 homes a year. It's hard to compete against those sort of guys. And the trades that are coming through, the younger people, they just don't have the skill or the drive either. So it is interesting to see where it's going to go. And when you talk about the insurance construction side of the world, I think there's a big restructure coming. I think insurance companies have been pushed so far from governments and regulatory bodies, and it all comes to us. So from in the insurance building sector, we're expected to be the psychologist, the building expert. We're supposed to know a PDS back to front. Everything's getting piled onto us. It is getting very difficult here, and it can't continue while you've got margins being pushed down and down and down. I've been speaking with the ICA, I've been speaking with a few different insurance companies' boards, being the master builders, about what we do and how we do it, how we work better together. And
okay.
let's change the narrative, and let's raise the bar, and let's lift the profile of the construction industry, the insurance industry, so we're not looked upon as, an insurance van hit, insurance companies, or sorry, the media jump on board and go, there's a flood today, nothing's getting done for 6 weeks. Well, it's not possible to mobilise a whole, staff to go and do 500 jobs within a week. You're looking at 6 to 12 months to get that done, but the media only want to look at a certain point. So as an industry, we need to work together. And when I say that, insurance builders, insurance companies, brokers, loss adjusters, and government bodies to go, okay, how can we do this better? What can we do? The little things like Gympie, for example, had 3 or 4 hailstorms. We've replaced the same roof 3 times in 2 years. But if we put 0.48 on instead of 0.42, we wouldn't need to replace those roofs. So we've just saved the insurance company $100,000 to $200,000, but we've cost them $2,000. So it's thinking smart about what we do and how we replace some things, the different areas, the different construction methods, and what we do. Like, I know Gold Coast is a great example. You've got all your tiled roofs down that way. Once you got over a certain pitch, you don't need to put sarking on. So your volume builders go, oh, that's $800 we can save. We just lift the pitch a couple of degrees. We don't have to put sarking. As soon as you get wind-driven rain, that roof leaks. Then we have to come in and fix it. Homeowner goes, how can we avoid this happening again? And it's $60,000, $70,000 because you've got to pull the whole roof off, put the sarking on, or replace it with tin. Then you got to do upgrades and tie downs, and it just gets out of control. So
More conversation, you reckon? That sounds like a good idea.
yeah, so just a little bit of regulatory change, a little bit more education in the industry, I think would go a long way to helping the industry raise its its profile, and trying to keep some of the shonky dealers out of the industry. So
I love that. I think people will watch this and contact you. The other piece is is it 9 different locations, co-locations that you're in on your website? I think
I
I
think
saw it
it's
was 9.
more than that. So at the moment, we're now covering from Darwin right down to Taree. We also do most of Western Australia as well. We've sort of got
Sweet.
offices, Darwin, Cairns, Townsville, Mackay, Rocky, Harvey Bay, Gladstone, Sunny Coast, Bridgie, Gold Coast, Edmonds Head, Maclean, Perth, Alice Springs. So yeah, there's quite a few locations. I'm
There's a
sure
lot
I've
of
missed one or two.
good fishing ones in there, actually, now that you
There,
mention.
there are. Don't get to go fishing as much as I'd like. So
Did you roll those out? Was that like a fast, like as it came, you found, or was it a let's go mad, or how did you? I'm interested to know.
no. So obviously I moved to Mission Beach, so we set up the office up there way back in the day, then moved back to Sunny Coast, the Gold Coast, popped on board, then a few things happened in Cairns. Normally, whenever we've set an office up, there's been an incident or a scenario, or we've been asked to go to that location. But the key thing to it is I've had the right person to head
That
up
was going to
that
be my
office.
next question. Yeah, how did you get
So
that
yeah, so I've
person to?
never opened an office until we've had a key
Great.
person in that area. Like a
Awesome.
lot of areas at the moment, there'll be quite a few that we don't have an actual office, but we have a supervisor or staff in that area.
Uh-huh.
Toowoomba's a great example. We had 4 guys and 2 girls out at Toowoomba. We didn't have an office out there at the time. They're all working from home.
Hmm.
Kept getting bigger and bigger, so we've now got an office in Toowoomba. So we've got the right people. If you don't have the right people, you can't set it up. So you've got to have the right people and then build from there. But within the insurance space, because obviously there's a lot of events happen. Normally we roll into town and then we never leave.
Okay, so it's not chicken and egg. The incidents happen, and then you send the people, and then they're good people, and then you grow the office. Okay.
Most of the time too, yeah. And like we've had guys and girls come from Melbourne come up and they go, oh, we don't like Victoria anymore. We want to move. Yep, no worries. They might start at the Sunshine Coast. They might start at the Gold Coast, and they go, oh, we'd actually like to move to Cairns. Yep, no worries. So we've had a lot of staff go from here to here and back and forth, and we've got parents in Harvey Bay, so they moved from Toowoomba to Harvey Bay, or because we've got such a diverse area that we cover, it is great to have different staff members and being able to have that option for staff to go, well, I'd actually love to go and live here. And we've had some staff go, I'm happy to go there for 6, they're single, or they might just be with their partner and they go, well, we'd love to go there for 12 months, see what it's like. It's a bit trickier when you've got kids,
So say your
obviously.
poor HR department.
But it's we have a chat to them and they say, oh, and we put out internally that we're chasing staff in this location. And some people go, oh, yep, we'd love to go to Cairns. We'd love to go to Airlie Beach. We'd love to go here. So it is a great way of having the staff move around and actually cover those areas. Has been great.
To finish, one piece of business advice that you would leave with our audience today for 2026, what would that be?
Geez,
Put you on the spot.
being resilient, you got to be resilient and be willing to have a crack. If you're not willing to have a crack, you won't succeed. So
Love it.
for myself is you might get knocked down. It mightn't work every time,
Mm.
but you've got to try. You've got to get out and give it a red hot go. Obviously, put your thought process in place and put all your plans in place, and don't take no for an answer, and just keep going.
Very inspiring. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ben. It's been absolutely fabulous.
All right, thanks for having us.